Today, we are going to be talking about how virtual reality can be beneficial to therapy, education, and in many medical situations. We will also be talking about how the body reacts to stimuli in virtual reality. First, I will give a brief explanation of virtual reality and how the body reacts to stimuli while in virtual reality, just like how it would in real life. First off, virtual reality is just a headset that you put on. It has two screens, one for each eye, and each screen displays a different image, so your body perceives it as a 3D space, just like a room or a water park, anything. The two screens have different frames per second, and if the frames per second come too low, many people become motion sick. Lots of people have described it as being the worst car sickness you've ever had. So that's one big hurdle to get over with virtual reality, is to get hardware that is good enough to run the virtual reality. Otherwise, the frames get too low and you get sick. Another hurdle is that sometimes the screens aren't high resolution enough, so everything looks blurry and it's not really convincing, which obviously isn't very great. The body, while it's in virtual reality, acts just like it would in normal reality. They did a study where they put people in a roller coaster, people who normally didn't like roller coasters, and the people started to sweat and their heart rates increased, just like if they're on a real roller coaster and were very nervous about it. Even though it was fake, the people knew it was fake, obviously, but their bodies still reacted like they were on a real roller coaster, and they were still very scared about it.
Now I will talk about virtual reality therapy designed in stroke rehabilitation. After a stroke, victims often have inhibited ability to perform everyday activities such as moving and other basic functions. Sensing and feeling can become more difficult as well. With the use of virtual reality, people can easily simulate these functions, essentially tricking the brain into performing them in real-life events. Some might say the activity is more motivating to patients so they can find ease on ongoing therapy. Virtual reality allows patients to practice repetitive movements with fun incorporated. The use of virtual reality as therapy can be started as 1 to 6 weeks post-stroke. Users will incorporate a robotic limb, and the screen will simulate picking up and transferring and manipulating virtual objects. These include only objects that represent real-life objects and self-care tasks. The practices simulate specific areas of the brain that engage 3D motion and exercise of the patients. Stroke victims can also experience loss and lowered use of limbs following a stroke, rendering the limbs weakened and underused. Virtual reality can help a victim of a stroke increase the likelihood of gaining functional use of affected limbs in real life. With this in therapy, a patient's motor skills are reinforced, therefore leading to impromptu limb use. Virtual reality can be an effective tool in rewiring a victim's brain, leading to more positive and thorough recovery. Virtual reality is still such a brand new technology. Researchers have only done a small amount of studies, and there is still so much more to be found, taught, and analyzed. With more and more survivors using virtual reality in therapy, the future will start evolving to accommodate the after effects of a stroke.
Now I will discuss how education benefits from virtual and augmented reality. VR and AR helps in subjects like chemistry, biology, physics, mathematics, astronomy, and others. It can benefit all ages of students, even as young as elementary school. Several studies were performed in using VR in schools. These studies show an increase in motivation and a decrease in distractions. Students also have a more positive attitude towards learning. With a decrease in distractions, students were able to focus more, which in turn causes an increase in student participation and interaction. Teachers in second grade use the Magic Book in their classroom. The Magic Book is a tool that helps creativity in young children by making them become part of the story. This is a handheld AR device that shows a 3D model that comes from the pages. This would be compared to a pop-up book as a kid. Using VR and AR technologies for biology can show what a human being consists of. You can watch a 3D computer generated model that shows the human organs and how they work. This is the same thing in chemistry with looking at an atom or molecule. Physics use these technologies to represent how objects can vary in velocity and acceleration. Students and teachers are able to share virtual spaces that uses computer-generated images and overlays it with the real world. This is helpful in geometry and mathematics to build shapes and be able to figure out the dimensions. Astronomy classes uses AR and VR to learn about the planets and their relationship to the sun. By using computer-generated 3D models, you can see how planets rotate around the sun. These technologies can be used to show mechanics how an engine works and how it should be taken apart and reassembled correctly. This is a great help to aviation and power plant technicians, or more commonly known as A&P techs. These people work on airplanes, and it would greatly help them show the different internal combustion engines and their components. Overall, VR and AR technologies can benefit education greatly.
Finally, I will discuss how virtual reality can help medical professionals. Virtual reality can be used as a diagnostic tool. It enables doctors to arrive at a diagnosis and removes the need for invasive procedures and surgeries. It also allows for robotic surgery, and this can be performed by a robotic device controlled by a human surgeon. And it's sometimes used for training purposes, but other times it is used in the field for remote telesurgery where the surgeon and the patient are in different locations. Virtual reality is used to educate patients about positive lifestyle choices, such as moderate alcohol intake and eating and exercise. And then virtual reality can be used to display Second Life, which is an online world where people create their own environments and interact with people through virtual reality. And nurses use Second Life to help put themselves in a nursing environment so they have practice before they actually go into the real world and do nursing. Second Life also helps people with disabilities. Second Life can enable a disabled person to learn how to live an independent lifestyle and how to interact with others. Take a wheelchair user, for example. They can use Second Life to learn how to move around and avoid obstacles before practicing in real life. Wheelchair users can use a head-mounted display and use an input device such as a joystick to help move around also. Therefore, we can conclude that virtual reality is beneficial to everyone.
In summary, we have covered how virtual reality can be beneficial to therapy, education, and medical situations. Also, we covered how the body reacts to VR. We hope you can see that virtual reality can be beneficial to everyone.